tour, and we're doing it better than anybody else alive. It's so hard for me to sit back here in this studio looking at a guy out here hollering my name. When last year I spent more money on Bill Lincoln, you're buying for one guy that's worth the other than you make. You took the two, the runaway, where Diamond Ring, where Get Steele, Wheeler Deal, Living Visual, Jet Flag, son of a gun. Flag, son of a gun. And I'm having a hard time holding down this stuff.
Hey yo, it's that time in the show when we like to take a little survey. So is there anybody here that came to see that red hot black and white express? Survey says one more for the good guys.
Welcome to Fantasy Kingdom. I'm your host Mikey, and as always, riding with me shotgun. Jeff, how you doing, buddy? How you doing, Howie?
Doing good.
You know, it's one of those days. We're back. We had a week off. Now we're back in the saddle to talk about week 6, sit and start.
Yeah, it's a big week.
It is. As I don't know about you, but in our fantasy leagues, we're starting to see some separation between the top tier teams and the lower tier teams.
A little bit.
You know, so big week this week for a lot of guys. You're in our league. You're playing the number 1 team who's undefeated. So it's time to get him in the L column.
Yeah, time to whoop. Well, you know, I've had a little trouble with injuries lately. With Eckler out for 2 weeks, with 3 weeks basically, that really hurt a lot. You know, and then last week St. Brown was out, and I didn't start DJ Moore.
Oh, that
hurt. It hurt, especially since he started Fields. So boy, it started the week off really bad. But in another league, I had Chase and DJ on the same team. So they
did you have them both going?
They both going at the same time. They scored 100 points between them.
Is that our fun league?
That was the show, yeah.
Yeah, our fun league. Yeah, I left Kittle. I left Kittle on the bench that last week, and he finally went off. You know,
yeah.
I went Homer and went Dalton Kincaid in London thinking they would do something, and nope.
They're both hurting this week.
They are.
I got them down to see Kincaid's got a concussion and Knox is nursing a knee, I think.
A wrist.
Wrist.
Yeah.
That was it. I wrote it wrong. So,
they think Kincaid's going to get cleared today to go because it was his last step. But Knox has been battling injuries all year.
Yeah.
One thing after another.
You know, in the long run, you know, at least that's one position that might not score on the Giants.
Yeah.
I called my dad this morning, and he's a fan of the Giants. And I said, you know, you and all your Giants fans, friends, this would be a really good weekend to go up and look at the leaves change.
You're just putting the hex on Buffalo. That's all you're doing, and you like to dig at me. You like to dig at me, but it's all right. So let's get started. Let's look at week 5 studs and duds. We'll start with the quarterbacks, the studs. Justin Fields, one of the stud quarterbacks, the stud quarterback last week. Brock Purdy.
Yeah. Keeps mowing along.
Yeah. Jared Goff are the 3 top fantasy scores for quarterbacks. Yeah. And then you had Josh Allen, your Commanders quarterback, Howe, and Joe Burrow made an appearance finally to the studs at quarterback. From a running back position, we had Travis Etienne that led the way. Then you had Zach Moss, even with Jonathan Taylor returning.
Right.
Zach Moss got
carries.
Yeah. Wasn't even 10 carries. He had 6 carries. 6 carries. And 2 targets.
Oh, okay. I thought he had more than that even.
No, it was less than that. I think he was on the field for like 15 snaps the whole game. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
they say they're just running him in slow, but
mhm.
maybe he just doesn't have it yet.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have any training camp,
Right.
so
He's got to get that aggression going and
mhm.
the want to.
Yeah.
The want to do it.
Yeah. And then Brees Hall made a appearance in the studs. And
Yeah.
then Devin Achin, who's been a stud, who now is hurt and on the IR for the next 4 weeks, which
Right.
sucks
Right.
for fantasy owners. Montgomery and Jacobs made a appearance finally on the studs.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, we had Chase, Moore, and Hill. Then honorable mentions, we had Thielen, Pickens, and Diggs. And then for tight ends, we had Kelsey, Kittle, Goddard. And then for honorable mentions, Laporta, Schultz. Dalton Schultz made an appearance finally, and Darren Waller.
I saw a stat this morning that said, what a Thielen and the Cowboys defense have in common with Patrick Mahomes.
What?
They've got more 25-point games than he does.
Yikes. Yikes. Yeah, that offense just doesn't look right in Kansas City.
Well, yeah, I mean, Patrick looks great. He's the same old Patrick, but it's like, who's going to catch it? And who do we give you to start from Kansas City? Because they've got so many mouths to feed. I mean,
right now, right now, I would say it's Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce.
Oh, Kelsey always.
Yeah.
Kelsey always. But, I
seems,
mean, the rest of his receivers are hit and miss.
the last 2 weeks, it seems to be Rice is starting to separate.
Yeah.
To go to. And really before that, it was probably Fortson, the other tight end.
Yeah.
I mean, and Kelsey's been banged up all year. So
Yeah.
let's get to Smitty's comment here. Which defense do I start? Washington, Atlanta, Raiders, Jags, or Rams? Ooh, that's a great question. We got to find out who's playing who.
Washington's playing Atlanta, I think.
All right, let me pull up the
Yeah.
schedule. Yeah, so the Raiders have the Patriots.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
That's
Commanders at Falcons. Raiders, or I think at home. Are they at home?
I like the Raiders against.
Yeah, the Raiders are home against the Patriots. The Jags. Where's the Jaguars? Jaguars are home against the Colts, and then the Rams. Where are the Rams? I'm looking for the Rams. Oh, it's Cardinals or at home against the Cardinals. Ooh, I might go the Rams versus Cardinals. Or I mean, the Patriots offense is hot garbage.
Yep,
right now.
That's why I like Las Vegas in this one.
All right,
I mean, the Rams are a good pick, but I think Vegas is gonna get on them.
I don't like the Raiders defense. That's the problem. I don't think I think the Patriots have the worst offense amongst the group. I just don't like the Raiders defense. So I would probably go the Rams versus the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I would stay away.
If the Rams play well enough, the Cardinals won't get on the field.
Yeah. And I would stay away from that Washington Falcons game because you don't know what you're getting in that one.
Yeah.
At all.
That could be
from either team. Score. Yeah. Or it could be a shootout. You don't know what you're getting week to week with those two teams.
Right.
So really comes down, Schmitty, between do you trust the Raiders against that horrible Patriots offense, or do you trust the Rams defense more? I trust the Rams defense more personally, but that's just me. All right, so let's get back to the duds. The duds, quarterbacks, Jordan Love just dudded out last week.
He was due.
Daniel Jones, the injured Daniel Jones now, who's not even playing this week. It's Tyrod's time. And then one of the preseason favorites, Dak Prescott, has been on the duds so many times this year. Honorable mentions, Zach Wilson, Lamar Jackson, and Ryan Tannehill. I was surprised to see Lamar show up on the duds. He's showed up on the duds twice and still won his team.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, they got no running. He's their running game, basically. So.
He's their everything on offense.
Yeah. It's hard for him to. I mean, he's not. His stats aren't going to be great having to win game. Him and the defense having to win the game.
Yeah. From the running back standpoints, we have Akers, Jonathan Taylor, who made his return and was just no one expected him to get that little carries at all.
All right.
And then James Conner, who didn't he get hurt and leave last week? Isn't that why it was so low? And then dishonorable mentions, we have Najee Harris, Gus Edwards, and James Cook. Wide receivers, Devonta Smith led the way with the lowest. He had like 1 point something points. It was just a horrible week for him. Jameson Williams, who's the returning Jameson Williams for Detroit. Then Justin Jefferson. But Justin Jefferson ended up going out late in that game, and now he's on IR for 4 weeks.
Right.
Dishonorable mentions, one of our early pickups that we were high on, Nico Collins. He showed up on dishonorable mention. We pumped him up. He finally got picked up, and then he duds out.
I've been pushing him since last year.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson, which you might see him more and more with Wilson. Zach Wilson as his quarterback, and then I put a combo: Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, because they were within with like 0.2 of a point of each other, and I didn't want to leave one of them off because they were both, epitome of why people lost last week.
Yeah.
And then from the tight end position, we had Higbee, Jake Ferguson for the Cowboys, Evan Ingram, and then dishonorable mention, I have Kincaid and Okonkwo. Did I say that right? Okonkwo are the dishonorable mentions. Yep. Yeah. Chick. Yep. All right, let's move into the key matchups this week. We have Seattle at the Bengals. What do you got on tap for Seattle at the Bengals, Howie?
Well, since they're in Cincinnati, Seahawks have been playing really tough lately. But if Cincinnati plays like they did last week, I think they're going to roll over them. The Seahawks have a chance of stopping them, but if Higgins comes back and Burrows is throwing like he was, I don't look for a whole lot from the Seahawks. A little bit from DK and Geno Smith. I don't know if you've got a better option this week. I would take it.
Geno, yeah.
Geno's
hit and miss this year. I mean, he's been solid, but yeah, I wouldn't have been comfortable going into the year with just Geno as my quarterback.
Right. Well, he did so well last year. A lot of teams picked him up and pulled him in, pulled people into the playoffs. But so they picked him up early this year, figuring, all right, I'll get him cheap, and you get what you pay for sometimes.
Touche.
I mean, I still like Geno, but he's not really racking up a lot of fantasy points.
I'll also be interested to see what the Bengals look like, because it's been Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Right.
Burrow finally came off the injury report last week, and he looked good. But did he look good because he was playing a bad team, or did he look good because they're back? Right. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out this week.
He wasn't afraid to run a little bit, and he was doing a lot of side to side, and he looked pretty sharp there. So I think the calf injuries may be in the background right now, but a calf can tweak it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
You just don't know, and you're always worried about it.
Especially in a quarterback position where you're like dropping back and planting, and
right,
because it's off his plant foot.
Yep. And he has to move around the pocket a lot. That shifting, So
we'll see. They're playing a really good Seahawks team. The positive for the Bengals is the Seahawks are coming to them.
Yeah.
So, all right. The second matchup we have is the Lions at the Bucks. What do you got on tap for the Lions at the Bucks?
Let's see. The Bucks are looking good in their passing game. You got Mike Evans and Godwin, and then Mayfield is kind of like Cousins. He doesn't like to get sacked, so there's he throws a few away, but they have no running game. So and then Detroit's got St. Brown back. Yep. Monty's tearing it up. Gibbs is out. Laporta's hurt. I don't know if he's going to play. So that's going to give even more to St. Brown. I I see Detroit winning this game, but Tampa's been playing tough. You
Mhm.
know, the records. You know, what are they 3-2? I believe, and Detroit's
Yeah.
4-1. So everybody's on Detroit's bandwagon, but I wouldn't I wouldn't count Tampa Bay out. Their defense is pretty good.
So for Laporta, he left early this week with a calf injury, but he returned to practice on Friday. He's officially questionable. If I was the Lions, I would play it safe with him and wouldn't play him. However, keep an eye on it because he may pop up inside of there early this week. From a Lions standpoint, I like what they're doing. They also got Jameson Williams back, which gives them another deep threat, which will help St. Brown. Like what Montgomery done, losing Gibbs doesn't hurt them so much because he hasn't been a big factor to this point. The Bucs are just scrappy. They have a good defense. Love Mike Evans and Godwin. Cade Otton is another one, the tight end.
Right. I've got him. Matter of fact, I got Cade Otton as one of my. He's like a deep sleeper this week.
Yep. Hey Scott, what's going on, brother? Yes, Pepper at the end. He's making up for the last time. All right, PPR. We got one coming in from Patty. PPR. KJ Osborne or Amari Cooper with backup quarterbacks this week. It's also time to sell Cooper because Cleveland's QB problems. I would go KJ Osborne this week over Amari Cooper. KJ now gets leveled up into the number 2 role with Addison as the number 1 and Hawkinson as the tight end. So I have a feeling you're going to see KJ have more opportunities this week. And it's Walker's the QB this week with Cooper. You don't know what you're going to get with PJ Walker.
Right.
He can look fantastic or he could dud out. So it's a complete gamble. I would go with Osborne as the Osborne is the higher floor, lower ceiling. Cooper is the lower floor, higher ceiling.
KJ's actually been the number 2. I mean, Addison is written down as number 2, but KJ's been getting a lot of catches, a lot of catches. Because they're after Jefferson. Now they're going to be all over Addison, and I've even got Osborne picked as my chili pepper challenge this week. So
okay,
more on that later.
And then the other question is it time to sell Cooper? Because I don't think so. I think it's too early to sell on Cooper right now. They'll get Watson back at some point, and he looks really good to this point.
Yeah. Well, when Watson's playing, he's real well.
Yep. So here's a question for you. What offensive line do you start? The Bills or the Giants? And thank you, Scott. All right. So we just went through the Bucs and the Lions. Now the Cowboys at Chargers. Should be a good game. I'll be interested to see how this plays out because what Cowboys team do you get and what Chargers team do you get? They're both up and down this year. What do you got on tap for this one?
Cowboys are playing. Their defense is so tough, but their offense it's going with Dak, and Dak is not the Dak of old. I kind of think it's confidence issues. To be honest with you, CD and Cooks might make an appearance, and Pollard's got to get more touches. I think he only had 10 or 12 touches last game, so they got to give him the ball more. And then Herbert's coming back with his left hand is in a glove, but it didn't affect him at the end of last game, and they say they'll just pretty much have him in the shotgun most of the time. And we get Eckler back. Yay. Anybody who started out with Eckler in first round pick this year has been hurting. And now he's coming back. Keenan Allen's looking good. Josh Palmer could have a good day. I think both their tight ends are a little banged up this week.
Parham and
Everett. So, keep an eye there. It seems like a bad week for tight ends because you got the Chargers tight ends are banged up. The Bills tight ends are Detroit. You got Laporta.
Njoku's
banged up. So
Darren Waller's banged up. Travis Kelce's banged up.
So if you're hurting for a tight end, you probably ought to hit the waiver wire right now because that's a lot of people are hurting for tight ends this week.
Yeah.
I of course want to see a shootout here. I want to see the Chargers score a lot of points and I would like to see Dallas kick about 7 field goals because I picked up Aubrey this weekend.
That sounds about like you.
Yeah.
Always being selfish. That
Hey.
don't want anybody else to score points, just your guys.
This is fantasy football. This is not football.
I have a feeling it's going to be a mid-tier game. I don't expect a shootout. I don't expect a low-scoring game. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those things. The Cowboys' defense is really good. If they come and show up, they can shut down that. They can shut down that Chargers offense.
I think what'll happen if they can get to Herbert, he'll do a lot more dump offs to Eckler because that's where they really shine. When they're hitting the dump offs to Eckler, the whole field opens up.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, it's going to come down to can the offensive line stop Micah Parsons?
Right.
You know, and then the Chargers defense is, you don't know what you're getting week to week. They have so many stars on that defense, and it just does not live up to stuff.
If Dak comes to play, his offense has got a really good shot at scoring a lot of points. You know, the Chargers can't seem to stop a lot of people.
But you also have to remember, this is the Kellen Moore revenge game. Kellen Moore been their offense coordinator for the last few years, and then all of a sudden, he moves on to the Chargers, and Mike McCarthy's calling the plays, and Dak doesn't look the same at all.
I saw a stat this morning that showed that with when he was offensive coordinator of the Cowboys, now with them being the Chargers, it switched. You know, Dak used to have 8.6 a play. Now he's down to 6 yards play, whereas Herbert's is going off. So it makes a difference. Coaching makes a difference. Ask the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. Always got to get that jab in, don't you? Always got to get that jab in.
That's my job.
So we got a question in here. Do I need running backs for I do need running backs for the Lions by week, but that's not until week 9. So roster. Johan, Dobbs, Javonte, Warren, London, Downs, and Deontay. He put Downs twice. He apologized for that.
Boy, and this is week 9 we're looking at?
Roster 2. Yeah.
Well, you never know with where Warren's going to be for week 9. He's coming on bit by bit every week. So later in the season, I see Jaylen Warren getting a whole lot of play. Javonte looked good the other night, but as good as he's going to get. Dobbs is a quarterback.
Dobbs is a wide receiver.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's Romeo Dobbs.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of the quarterback for Arizona.
Romeo Doubs. Drake London's up and down. I like Downs. Downs is in. Where's Downs? Downs is in Indy, right? Where's Downs at?
I just saw something on him. Josh Downs.
Where's Downs at?
He's playing Indy.
He's playing Indy, or he's playing in Indy?
No, he's playing in Indy. He's just. Let's see, guys. That's your roster right now. I have Dobbs and Josh right now, but I don't know if they're worth holding on to because I have Diggs, AJ Brown, Ayuk, and Diop. Well, yeah. You don't need those receivers.
Yeah. If I was going to give up somebody, if I was going to let somebody go, I would probably let either Downs. I'd probably use Downs or no, because Deontay is good when he's healthy. I'd probably use Downs as my streamer to pick up a running back. If you need 2. No, not my roster. Roster 2 of those players. Downs is in Indy. Yeah. So it's not my roster. So he wants to roster 2 of those players. If you're just rostering 2 of those players, I'm taking Javonte. If I can only keep 2, I'm taking Javonte and Deontay. If you can only have 2, who are you taking?
Now these guys if they're just going to your bench, I would take Warren and London. London seems to be getting a lot more targets lately.
And I would take Javonte and Deontay. Warren, I like him, but he's still in timeshare.
Right.
Javonte,
Well, yeah.
as he gets healthier and healthier, is going to take more and more of the carries in Denver. And then I like Deontay over London. I've had London on my team multiple years, and the guy just never does anything. What up, guys? How y'all doing? So Jefferson's down. My fantasy, all I have for wide receivers is Addison, Michael Thomas, Godwin, Josh Downs. I have for running back Montgomery, RB2, and my flex is Ken Walker. So who should I play? Do I trade for Eckler and Christian Watson? Yes. If you can get Eckler for Bijan and they throw in Christian Watson, you do that right now.
Yeah.
As long as it's not a dynasty league. If it's a dynasty league, then you want to keep Bijan because he's at a larger play. But if it's a redraft league, you get Eckler, you get him right now. That's a no-brainer. But who should you play here? So you have Addison, Michael Thomas, Godwin. I would probably go with Michael Thomas and Godwin this week as my receivers and leave Montgomery and Kenneth Walker as is. Or put, who's your RB1?
I think he said Downs. Yeah, Josh Downs I have for RB.
Josh Downs is a wide receiver.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's got is the.
So he has Josh Downs as a receiver. And it says I have for running backs are Montgomery, Montgomery and RB2, and my flex is Kenneth Walker. So who's RB1? Oh, he had Pacheco going. Okay. So then I would do that. I would definitely go with Michael Thomas and Godwin this week. Who are you going with, Howie?
I concur. I would do that, Thomas, because Thomas, excuse me, fell off the map last year, but he's really a central part of the receiving again.
Looks like Derek Carr's back, which it plays a big deal in it. Although everyone's gonna love the Addison play, I have like Howie says, I have a feeling Osborne's gonna get more than Addison.
Yeah, I have a feeling Hawkinson's
and Hawkinson's gonna be their number one. So it's one of those. So I would definitely go with Michael Thomas and Godwin this week. Should I drink Crown or Miller 64 Sunday night? Crown, baby. Enjoy the Buffalo Bills stomping out the Giants all day. Diego comes in and says redraft. Should I be concerned about his ankle sprain later on in the season? No, because he's had ankle sprains in the past and it hasn't limited him later on in the years.
And he's tough. He works out. I mean, he probably wanted to come back a week or two ago. Now, anybody who's ever had a high ankle sprain, they do drop off a little bit statistically, but I don't think you need to worry about that.
Okay. Zach comes in with a super chat. We appreciate it. It says 2 QB, 10-team league. I have Herbert, Watson, Love. Love is on a bye. Watson is out. Young, Tannehill, Zach Wilson available. Who do I drop? Who do I pick up? Love's on bye. Watson is out.
Yep.
You probably want Tannehill's playing over in London, and they flew over late in the week. And we watched what happened with Buffalo last week when they flew over late in the week. They were just like sleepwalking. So I wouldn't say Tannehill. Zach Wilson is not a guy that you really want to, pick up. Who are they playing?
They're playing Miami.
Young playing Miami. You know what? I might go with Young because Miami's defense is not very good.
Yeah, hey, even Denver scored 20 on them when they were down. When they got 70 hung on them. So that would be.
I mean, who the Jets play. The Jets play the Eagles, so I would probably go with Young this week. And who do you get rid of? Do you have an IR slot? If you have an IR slot, throw Watson on the IR. If you don't, I'm probably letting Love go to pick up Young and hope to get him back later on.
Yeah.
Howie?
Yeah, no, I like that because I pick him up and drop people all the time. I've been a streaming freak this year.
Yeah. Scott Blakely agrees with us. Drop Love, pick up Young. Yep. That's definitely what I would do. And appreciate the super chat, Zach.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move back over. We talked about the Cowboys Chargers. So let's get into a little bit of sit and start, Howie. Sit start. Quarterbacks. Joe Burrow versus Seattle or Matt Stafford versus Arizona? Who you sitting? Who you starting?
Oh man, boy, both those guys could have a fun day. Well, I think Stafford's going to have more weapons to throw to. Just because he's got Pakua, Tutu, he's got Cup. We talked about Higbee earlier. He's kind of been lost in translation, but he's still a good weapon. I'm going to go with Stafford on that one. I think Burrows has the higher upside, but Stafford's got a good floor there to work with.
I feel the same way. Burrow always has the unlimited ceiling, but Stafford's floor is just higher than Burrow's. We got another question that comes out of should I trade Montgomery for Tony Pollard? I say no. Tony Pollard is a hot name, but Montgomery has the production, and nothing I've seen from Detroit says they're going away from him anytime soon. He's getting all the goal line carries and most of the actual carries. They're barely using Jahmyr Gibbs, and now he's hurt.
Yeah, and Pollard, last year he was lightning to Zeke's thunder, but by himself, they're not fooling anybody. Montgomery's doing it all on his own. So I would not trade Montgomery.
Scott says I'm here for the pepper moment, but I do learn. Scott loves your hot pepper challenge.
I'll tell you.
Easy bit here. We appreciate the super chat, Scott. We appreciate the super chat. That's great. I'm not gonna lie, that's great. All right. So the next one, Sam Howell at Atlanta or Baker Mayfield versus Detroit. Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Howell on this one. I think he has a better chance to score some points than Mayfield. Mayfield has no running game, so they're not going to fool anybody. Howell's got a little bit of everything, and so that in my estimation, it's kind of the homer pick.
Do I see that Commanders homerism coming out in you?
You see the Washington homerism coming out in you.
That Commanders homerism. I would probably go Mayfield here. Although I like Hal is up and down. He's a roller coaster this year. You don't know exactly what you're getting from him. Mayfield's been a little bit more consistent, and because they don't have a running game, he tends to throw a ton, which gives you more fantasy points. All right, my last quarterback one: Gardner Minshew at Jacksonville or Dobbs at LA Rams.
Minshew.
Go Minshew.
Hollywood's hurting. They're down. I mean, Connor's out, so they're looking at a bunch of second and third stringers on their offense right now. Okay. So I wouldn't look for a whole. I mean, Dobbs might have to run, but I don't think he's going to get any, nearly enough to cover the points.
Yep. All right. So let's look at some running backs. Are you going to go Kyren Williams versus Arizona? Or are you going DeAndre Swift versus the Jets?
Swift's been running really good. Right?
He has, but he's going against a really good defense.
Yeah.
Kyren Williams going against Arizona.
Well, I think maybe Kyren because like I said earlier, they got all those receivers out there, so that's going to open up the running game. And vice versa. So, this might be his chance to really, really show off this week. I mean, I'm sure everybody's looking at Nuke and Cup. I'm sure they're looking for that, but it might be a sneaky play with him.
Everyone's looking at Puka Nakua. Puka. Yep. I would probably go with DeAndre Swift. I feel like you can run on the Jets more than you can throw on the Jets.
Well, the Eagles' running game they're just
So good.
they got it down. They're punching holes. I mean, their running backs aren't getting hit until they're past the line of scrimmage. You know, that makes a huge difference. You know, when you
And
get
Swift-
to a hole.
And Swift can also catch the ball out of the backfield, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I think Kyron, he's the lead back there. He's not in any type of timeshare to where Swift is. Kyron has probably the higher floor, lower ceiling. Swift has the higher ceiling, lower floor.
And Swift's going to get screwed out of those
Touchdowns
at the end zone because what do they call it now? The
tush push?
the brotherly shove.
I'm never going to call it that. It's going to be the tush push. I'm never calling it that. Just know that. All right. So my next one, James Cook versus the Giants or Breece Hall versus Philly. James Cook has come crashing down to earth the last couple weeks.
I know he's not fulfilling his what we thought he was going to be. And Breece Hall, when he breaks loose, is exciting to watch.
Yeah, he is.
I'm going to go with Breece Hall.
Okay.
Because I'm the anti-Buffalo guy, so but I really like Breece Hall. I mean, when he breaks loose, you don't know how far he's going to go.
Not only that, but Jalen Carter is not playing this week,
right? And
Slay's out, which I think will put a dent in that Philly defense. So I would probably go Breece Hall as well. James Cook against that Giants defense, though, is just it's like looking at a pretty steak. It's like, oh, do I take that? Do I take that? But then it could come out as a dud.
This could be one of those games where Buffalo Bills players get pulled early. I know people hate that in fantasy. You've got such a right matchup. You're thinking, oh, we're going to feast, and then about the third quarter, it's like, okay, Josh, sit out.
Well, we've seen that. We've seen that twice already this year.
Yeah.
Or 3 times. We've seen it 3 times this year. Week 2, 3, and 4, Josh didn't play the fourth quarter. Neither did Stephon Diggs.
So I mean, you love your Buffalo Bills, but do you love them enough to take points off the board?
Yeah.
I mean, the reason
not like this.
The reason I like the Chargers so much is because they are always playing from behind and just chucking it. I mean,
same reason why you liked Stafford back in those days. Remember, the Detroit was always down.
That's why you play fantasy. I mean, that's how you play fantasy. If you've got a quarterback who doesn't have to do anything, he's probably not scoring as many points as a guy who's flinging the ball.
Yeah,
that's always kind of been my way of doing it. They'll say, why don't you pick a quarterback that's in first or second place? It's like, well, no, you want somebody who's always playing from behind in fantasy. I mean, on your regular football team, you just want to win, baby, win. But in fantasy, you're looking for that struggling team. That's why Detroit was always so good, and they are, and that's why you got San Diego. Well, I mean the Chargers. Mm-hmm. Who else is like that just has to fling? Cincinnati, a lot has to fling it in their division.
Yeah.
So
All right, so let's move to the next one. We have Brian Robinson Jr. at Atlanta or Dameon Pierce versus Indy. Is that Washington homerism coming out again?
God dang it!
Because you just traded for Brian Robinson Jr.
I did just trade for him, but I'm not starting him. I'm starting Deontay Foreman over him.
Okay,
but boy, that's a tough one because Pierce really. He hasn't fulfilled everything that people thought he was going to do this year either. And man, they're both. I would put them both on medium. And yeah, let's let the skin fly and go with the red guys.
Yeah, nope. And I would be going Dameon Pierce. I don't trust your offensive coordinator to continue to run the ball. That's the problem. Like know. he'll be picking up 10 yards a clip, and he'll stop running the ball and just keep throwing it. He thinks he has Patrick Mahomes back there.
There's a lot of offensive coordinators out there like that. I'll tell you.
Yeah, we got one in Western New York.
They don't know how to dance with who brung them.
Yeah, Okay, so my last one from the running backs: Jonathan Taylor or Zach Moss. Who are you going with this week?
Ooh. Let's see. Who are they playing? Indy's playing.
And he's playing Jacksonville. And Jacksonville.
Zach catches a lot of balls, right?
Zach?
Didn't he catch more than
Zach Moss? No.
He's just run. Just.
Yeah, he's been running the ball.
Man, you don't know what Taylor's going to do.
I know.
I'm going to stay away from the unknown, and I'm going to go with Moss.
You think Moss is going to still outsnap him?
Next week, maybe I'll jump on the Taylor bandwagon, but let's see if he can get that rolling first.
All right.
He hasn't shown me anything yet.
All right. Okay, so let's switch over to some wide receivers. Who you going with? DJ Moore or Jalen Waddle? DJ Moore going against Minnesota. Jalen Waddle going against Carolina.
I'm going to go with Moore, not because he's on my roster, but because Miami's got a lot more mouths to feed. Moore's got him and Dante, and who else they got? They got Mooney, right? But that's about it. So just for the simple fact that he's probably going to get more attempts, I'm going to go with DJ Moore on that one.
I would go DJ Moore as well, although I think Waddle has a better chance for the floor than DJ Moore. DJ Moore has that crazy high ceiling because he's the alpha receiver there.
I really worry that might, he had 2 really good weeks, but he was invisible before that, and it scares me that that could happen again. He could just fade back. It all depends on what Fields is doing. Fields has been, he hasn't done a lot of running because he's been able to pass, but if he gets to the point where he starts running again, then Moore suffers on that one. But I'm going to go for Moore because he's going to get the targets.
All right, here's another one. You're going to go DeAndre Hopkins, who's versus Baltimore in London, or are you going to go Nico Collins versus New Orleans?
Oh, I'm going to go with D-Hop. New Orleans defense is tough, and Collins has kind of faded lately.
All right, here's what I like. You're going to go Deebo Samuel at Cleveland or Jacoby Myers against the Patriots?
I like Jacoby against Patriots.
Me too. I like Jacoby just because that offense is always down and has to throw. Deebo has not shown me much. It's a CMC led backfield. He's the main guy, and then Ayuk's kind of overtaken Deebo as the wide receiver 1.
Yeah, and Deebo was kind of like your Swiss Army knife there for a while.
Yeah,
filling all holes,
and they haven't used them like that.
They haven't needed to. They're so solid right now that they've got guys that could be stars on other teams, but that right now they don't need to use them, and that's a good thing for a football team.
Yep. All right, Terry McLaurin at Atlanta or Michael Thomas at Houston?
I like Michael Thomas.
All right, me too. I like that one. All right, the last one, Drake London versus Washington or KJ Osborne at Chicago?
KJ, all the way.
you love you some KJ right now.
He my new Adam Thielen. I like Osborne. Well, I think Osborne was taking throws away from Jefferson. I mean, as good as Jefferson did, and all the stats he was racking up, Osborne was getting all kinds of stuff. And I mean, I know that everybody thinks Addison's going to be the guy now going forward, but you watch this weekend, it'll be Osborne.
All right. So, and then with Sam Laporta down, we'll go do some tight ends. Cole Kmet or Zach Ertz? Kmet's going against Minnesota. Zach Ertz against the Rams.
I think I like Ertz.
You like Ertz?
I like Ertz. He's a top 5 tight end right now, and the Rams give a lot up to tight ends. So
they do.
Yeah, I would go with Ertz.
I like. And
he's going to be their only weapon.
Okay.
Effective. You can go with the Mercado and those guys on the Cardinals, but really Ertz is going to be the only true weapon they have right now.
Okay, here's another one for you. It's a three-man one. Jake Ferguson at the Chargers, Kyle Pitts versus Washington, or Dalton Schultz versus New Orleans. What are the three you going with?
Well, Schultz against New Orleans, I think, is your toughest pick.
Mm-hmm.
Pitts, the heartbreaker, and then Ferguson. I like Ferguson because the Chargers give up an awful lot of air yards. So
Okay.
I would go with Ferguson on that one.
I would probably go, I'd probably go with Kyle Pitts. He's the number 2 target there. He's 1B target there. It's Drake London and Pitts are the only 2 that they got. I still don't think they use Pitts.
They don't use him enough, or there's something going on there. But since he came into the league, he like I said, he broke a lot of hearts.
Yep.
You know?
All right, one last one, and then we'll go to the wrap up. Hayden Hurst at Miami, Noah Fant at Cincinnati, or Irv Smith versus Seattle.
Fant, Smith, Hurst.
Yeah, Hayden Hurst for Carolina. Noah Fant for Seattle, which Seattle's hard to ever pick a tight end because they have 3 that they use, so you don't know which one's going to go off that week. Or Irv Smith, which is Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go with Hayden Hurst because Miami can score on him.
That's probably who I would go with too. I like the upside of Irv Smith, but he's so far down the pecking order in the because he has 3 wide receivers who are above him and a running back. So he's like option 5 in most times. So I would probably go with Hayden Hurst as well. All right, so that's our sit start this week. Let's move into the your hot pepper challenge this week. Who's your hot pepper challenge this week?
Let's see. The last time we were here, because I lost.
You did. Wasn't it Cousins 302 touchdowns or something like that?
Yeah, it was. So, okay. Here's my chili pepper challenge for this week. KJ Osborne, I got him 7 for 80 and a touchdown. Okay.
You're gonna call out receptions too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean it's fantasy scoring, so I'm looking at him to get like 21 points.
Yeah, I usually you just do yards and touchdowns, so you're gonna call catches too. You're getting really depth. I like it.
Well,
I like
it's not a real killer prediction.
So let me ask you this: Is it just a TD or is it a pass reception TD, or do you care?
I don't care.
I would say just a TD.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a passing TD.
Okay, I'm pretty sure too, but
but I don't care. It'll be a TD from scrimmage.
All right, I'll take that.
Okay, and then so there's that, and then I'll give you my X factor, and then I'll eat my pepper.
Yep. All right, give me your
X factor this week. Mike Evans.
I hate you.
He's one of your guys.
I don't like it when you take my guys as the X factors. They never do well. All right, so my
hot one, man.
Scott, I hope you're watching, buddy. I hope you're watching. All right,
there's a bad one. The first bite was bad.
You know what? My X factor this week, I'm gonna go with Alvin Kamara, who's returned. I like.
He was my number 2.
He was your number 2. Woo! Are we gonna see some sweat coming off that brow? Yeah, I'm gonna go with Alvin Kamara this week. He returned last week. He looked good. I like his matchup against Houston. So, by the way, just so you know, I'm up 1 on you on the X Factor so far.
Are you?
Yep. You won week 1.
Bad one.
Was it that bad, huh? That bad?
It'd be good on a taco, but it ain't very good playing with water.
All right. Any other topics you want to hit before we wrap up?
No, that's about it.
Okay. So thanks for coming in and giving us your guys's questions. The super chats is always appreciated. It helps the show. How you can help the show the best, though, just hit the like button. It gets us out to more people. For Howie, I'm Mikey. We'll see you guys next week. Go Bills.